Hi, good morning. We're going to talk about something a little different today, sort of. And for those who aren't here, hopefully they will be looking at the video because I'm going to actually have kind of confirmation, have them confirm that they watched it because it's kind of important. So I wanted you guys to know that regarding the pay plan and the commission plan and all of that. So what I want to try to explain today is why it's so important on the pay plan to be fair to your fellow techs, okay? There's a difference between a technician, obviously, and an apprentice. So, I mean, Jesse's now starting to get into being more of a tech. He's still helping a lot, but he's going to be, as we continue to get busy, which for our advertising, we're switching things up a little bit from what I originally had planned because I found out how expensive it is for HVAC leads. It's about 4 times more expensive for an HVAC lead, especially right around end of June, middle of June, beginning of June, when everybody and their brother out there is doing HVAC. So I know we're going to get busy anyway with HVAC, so it's not an issue. So a lot of our money is going to be going towards plumbing. Because I'm looking at the plumbing board the last few days, it's been really, really slow. So that's going to be more of a focus for the advertising dollars to begin with. The majority of, the lion's share basically is going to go to plumbing. The remaining part of it will go to HVAC, but it's not going to be nearly at the level that I originally had planned because I was kind of splitting it up. But when we were going through the pay-per-click stuff and they were doing all of their stuff, they said, hey, look, and they sent me a whole breakdown of it and said, look how expensive it is for one HVAC lead, which we already know HVAC equipment is a lot more expensive than most plumbing stuff other than maybe a water heater. And so therefore, profitability is already lower. And then when you're paying, $300, $400 for an HVAC lead that you don't even know if it's going to turn into a sale. So unless you have sales guys that are out there getting a 90% plus close rate, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend $300 on a call that we may make nothing on, right? Plumbing, on the other hand, the break-even's a lot better. So that's just the way it is. So what we have to do to make this work for both sides, our goal is by the time the summer kind of starts to slow down, we're going to switch it up. And then we're going to put all the HVAC stuff, focus more on that because we'll already have some income coming in, have a little extra money. We'll be able to focus a little more on HVAC before it gets slow. And hopefully that will do what we're looking for. Talking to the marketing guys, that's basically their recommendation. That's what they do for a living. And they're saying, hey, for you guys to be able to get your income up, which is what our goal is right now in general. I don't care if it's from plumbing or HVAC, really. I know some of the HVAC guys do, but for me, it's like we just need to get revenue up so that I have enough money to continue to pay for marketing. Because right now we're at that beginning point where I don't have a lot of jobs, so I don't have a lot of money, which means I don't have extra money to keep throwing at marketing, but I kind of have to throw money at marketing to be able to get the jobs going, right? So it's a catch-22. So anyway, so that's basically what's going to happen starting off here with these guys. So I just want to let you know that. Going to commission, back to commission and what's being fair. So for an example, I have Nick and Sarah, okay? Nick and Sarah, they go out and they do a job. Now, Sarah sells the job maybe. Doesn't matter if it's the other way around, but let's say for an example, Sarah sells a job. All right, so the job here, $10,833 job. Now, I'm going to ask the question because I kind of know the answer, but I want everyone else to hear this for those who are apprentices and those who aren't. How this is fair, or what you guys think is fair, because I'm going to tell you what's happened in a minute. So basically, if Sarah sold the job, okay, there's no channel. The total amount of money that is going to be paid in commission to Sarah, this is including 12 hours of labor. 32 hours of labor I had there. So let's say it's a small reroute, repipe, whatever. She's got something going on. And she says, okay, Nick, I want you to come. So we're gonna be able to knock this out in a day, the 2 of us, along with some help. We have 2 other helpers, so there's 4 of us on the job. But we're gonna knock it out today. Cool. So 8 hours for her, 8 hours for Nick. Those are the technician hours. And then the helper hours are going to be, let's say, Jesse and Jason, okay? You guys are working, well, actually, that's only 2 of you guys. So that's the 32 hours. So maybe she needs a little bit more help the next day. Whatever, just for cleanup or something, right? But the bottom line is I was just trying to get a number to kind of show you more of the tech side than anything else. And maybe we have 4 helpers each on that same day doing different things, who knows. But the bottom line is we have a $10,000 job, almost 11. Tech hours are 16, and the amount of money we're talking about is $2,700 for the techs. So now what would normally happen is Sarah's going to say to Nick, here's how much I'm going to pay you for this job. Per day, whatever. It's a full day, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars. Now, for you, Nick, what is fair for you? As a technician, you work an 8-hour day. What do you hope to make if you're working a job with your skills and your equipment and so on?
$1,000. That'd be nice.
Okay. All right. So now, I think Sarah would be the same way if it was reversed. If it was your job and you said, Sarah, I need your help so we can knock this out in one day because I got more work tomorrow. Because this is my goal, guys. My goal is we're going to have work every day, especially with plumbing coming up, and because plumbing's been slower. If we're advertising and we got stuff going, I want us to be busy every single day. We're to the point where we can't afford to go into a second day with this job. That's why we got so many people on it. Okay, we got to get this job done because the helpers aren't going to be out there running calls as much, right? Maybe Jesse will, but the other guys won't. But we need to get this job done because I got a job tomorrow. If I don't get this done today, I got to put that one off tomorrow, and it's a mess, right? So I think Sarah would be the same way. Sarah's like, well, shoot, I'll go make money somewhere else. If I can't make a decent amount of money on here, you know, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go do something else. I'll go run another call and make my own $1,000 for the day, right? So that's kind of what the point I'm trying to make is because what's happening is, or what has happened, is we get another technician out to a job like this, and we say, hey, I'm going to pay you $300. Or we don't tell you at all what we're going to pay you. And at the end of it, we say, okay, I'm going to pay you $300. And now you've worked, instead of 8 hours, maybe they worked 10 hours because you guys had to knock it out. It took a little longer than you expected. So now you're making $25 an hour, you know. Which you probably could have made on your own if you would have went out and sold something, especially when we're busy, would have made more money. Or at least got a job nailed down where the next day you're going to make more money. Right. So my point is we've got to be able to take care of each other as techs in particular because what comes around goes around in this industry and on our team. We are a team here, we have to work together, but we got to make it fair for the other tech. Because I know that Sarah won't come out to a job. I know Nick won't go out to a job or doesn't want to go to a job unless there's nothing else going on. And okay, I got to make $25 an hour, I'll make it. But that's not anyone's goal. And it's almost a slap in the face if Nick were to say to Sarah, Sarah, come on out, I need your skills and tools, and so we can knock this out in a day. You're going to work an 8-hour day, maybe 10, and I'm going to pay you $300. It's kind of a slap in the face. They're like, shit, I'm worth more than that. Right. Sarah believes that, you believe that. Anybody who's a good tech, and I'm only talking plumbing now, but HVAC is the same way. You know, you don't take, now, you may have more experience than Ryan, for an example, but his goal is to be able to get to that level of making the money that any tech should be able to make. So why is he going to want to work for $20 an hour on a job if he's been basically the same amount of time as you are there, right? So it's different, though, if I say, okay, Sarah calls you out and Nick and says, hey, Nick, I just need you for an hour to help me with this part here. It's going to take two experienced people, and I need you for an hour, 2 hours, and you know they pay you $100. Oh, okay, I still made $50 an hour. I made a decent living. I mean, and I have the time to do that. No big deal. But you can't expect an experienced technician to work for, you know, just a couple dollars more an hour than an apprentice. Right. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Joe Eden is no longer here, and that's why. Because everyone abused him. Whenever he worked on with a technician, he was abused. And I saw it on his paycheck, and I thought maybe he was okay with what he was doing. But, and he got frustrated for other reasons. And another part of the reason that I wanted to explain to you, because it's hard getting people here. I got another guy that's starting on Friday. It's really hard getting people that know plumbing and live close enough to this area to come here. Okay? Said I have another guy coming potentially next week, but it's kind of because he knows somebody and I'm working on it. But my point is, the technicians, no matter if it's HVAC or plumbing, you need to take care of each other, and there can't be so much. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. That no one's going to want to work with you, because if we're busy enough where there's work for the next day, and everyone's working every day, you're not going to get stuff done, and you're going to have people that are, you're paying $17, $18 an hour for, that are going to be like half the productivity that you would have with someone who's an experienced tech, right? So that's the kind of the goal. It should be get that job done so I can get to the next one, because I'm going to make another $1,000, another couple $1,000 or whatever. But the other part of why he left is, and I want to talk about this, is because it has to do with commission as well. So we all know that that second opinion person is really important. So in talking to Joweed, I learned some things that were upsetting, but now I kind of understand a few things now that I didn't really understand before. Because I'm not out there when it happens, and no one ever says anything to me. How the hell am I know? I'm supposed to know, right? So he says, okay, so I call up, and I'm just throwing a name out there, not necessarily, this isn't the person. I call up Phil. Phil says, I'm not coming out to clear your drain. He says, I'm not asking you to come out to clear my drain. I'm asking you to come out and be that second opinion, basically. Now, he may not be communicating this properly to Phil, but all right, fine. Phil comes out, clears a drain, and he's like, I didn't want you to clear the drain. I could have cleared a frickin' drain. It's not, I'm trying to make this something, and make this into some work for us. And no, and then they just want to go, and then Phil leaves. I cleared the drain for you, see you later. Well, that second person there means nothing at that point. If you're going to come do someone's job for him, that doesn't mean anything. Or he calls up Nick. Again, this isn't necessarily Nick. Calls up Nick, and Nick says, man, I don't want to come. I don't have time for you. Well, what are you doing? I'm calling someone to give me a second opinion to come help me here, and you're just brushing me off. So now I don't have a second opinion. So now I'm on my own. Again, we're not being a team. We're not helping each other out. What good does that do us? Because as a company, you guys understand, the more jobs we get and more jobs we do and do a good job at, we can get more reviews. We can get more jobs from friends and family, and so on and so on. It helps all of us. If you get a job, or you get a job and do a good job, it helps all of us. Not necessarily today, but maybe next week, next month, next year. So we've all got to be thinking that way, that this company that we're all working in, everything we do, good or bad, is going to affect us, right? So getting jobs done and helping your other teammates out is a big part of all of our success. And what I saw in there is that's lacking. People don't want to come out, and and part of it may have been a little bit of a communication issue with Joweed. He's trying to get someone out there, and he's trying to explain to him, hey, yeah, I'm having a problem with this and this and that. I think we need to jet the line out. And the funny thing is, on this one particular job that Joweed was on, and I'm throwing their names out not because I'm trying to throw them under the bus, but I'm trying to just make a point and help you guys. He calls Luciano and Phil, who are usually together, right? They're a team. And he says, and it's a commercial building, and he's trying to sell a jetter. He sells a jetter. Luciano and those guys come out, he sells a jetter even before they come out, and he's going to give them the jetter job. And he just wants to make the sale and go on. He's trying to work it that way now, because he figures, well, if I give them the work, maybe they'll appreciate it. Well, the opposite happened. They got there and they said, no, you don't need a jetter. Pull the toilet, clear the lane from the second floor, and it's good. Guess what happened? The next day, we got called back again. Now the bottom floor's clogged. Should have been jetted. Wasn't jetted. Because the thing was, well, we can't jet this because we're going to flood out the whole downstairs. Well, you don't jet it from up there. You clear the bottom first, then you can start basically working backwards and work your way back up to the top after you jet from the bottom and work your way back up, right? Mm-hmm. You don't jet when the clog is down below, because then you're going to flood everything out. But bottom line is there was no camera put in there. There was no there was no real sense of, it's kind of like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So now he looks bad, which means we all look bad. Our company looks bad because we sent some guy out who didn't know what he was doing. That's what the perception is to the client. Because the other guys didn't back him up. That's what they're supposed to be there for, is backing him up. I don't care if he's wrong. You don't make the customer know that he's wrong. You may go around it a different way and redo something without, let me try something else. I've tried this before. I can, let me try this and see if I can get it to go clear this way. It still may need a jetting, but let's see if we can get through without for now. And then tomorrow comes up, I guess we do need a jetting, and we can go that route. But you don't basically make the other guy look bad. He's part of our team. He makes the whole company look bad. Because then what happens is, I don't want that guy out here anymore. Okay? So that's the first part of it. That is a big part of it. But I want everyone to understand that we all have to back each other up, no matter what. If we're wrong, you still got to back him up and figure a way of not letting the customer know he was wrong. Bring that guy aside, talk to him, whatever you got to do. Fix the issue, take care of the problem, take care of the customer. But you don't want to make anybody look bad. The other part of this has to do with if you go out to a job, and this was on Jaweed completely. I had this conversation with him before. If you go out on a job and you don't know what's going on, because let's say, Mike is sick, and so Ryan, you go out to the job that he's already supposed to have started, and maybe Kevin sold it, or whoever, and you're going out to the job and you don't really know what's going on. You can only look at the notes and it just says, okay, I need to install this condenser. I don't know where the condenser is. Do we already have the condenser? I mean, you don't have all the answers. The last thing you want to do in front of a customer is act like you don't know what the hell's going on. Okay? You can say, hey, you know what? If you have to talk to somebody when you get there before you talk to the customer because you don't know what's going on, you're looking, you don't see a condenser, you go, oh gosh, maybe the condenser wasn't ordered, or what's done, what's not done. Even though Mike may be sick, the goal would be call Mike or text Mike and find out what the hell's going on and what did you do, where's the condenser, is the condenser purchased, do I need to buy it before I go? All that should have been done before he even left to go to the customer's house, and get as much information as you can in that situation. If you get there, assuming that it's already there and it's not, do something. Go up there and check everything out and say, before I went and bought the condenser, I wanted to see what Mike got done. I just want to make sure that, so I'm ready to put it in when I go pick it up. Okay? So you go up there, you do some inspection with your flashlight, make a little noise, do whatever you got to do to make sure that the customer knows you want to do it right. And that's what you tell them. Hey, I want to make sure this is done right. Mike is really sick today. I haven't been able to get a hold of him this morning, for an example. So I wanted to check the system out before I just brought the condenser because I didn't know how much work I had to do prior to put it in. Boom. Now, at least the customer thinks you're trying to take care of them. You really care about what you're doing, and you're not throwing Mike under the bus because Mike's sick, right? So that's the kind of thing that needs to be done, rather than go into the customer, for an example, and say, let's say Ryan didn't call Mike, he gets there and goes, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. What do you need me to do? The customer's like, I don't know. He's supposed to be changing out my condenser, that's all I know. Oh, well, do you know where it's at? No, don't you? I mean, that's the kind of thing that makes us look stupid. And it's an embarrassment. And I don't want that ever happening, so I want you to make sure you're prepared, even if it wasn't your job. I don't want the excuse of, well, I was just sent out here. I don't know what's going on. Well, then, if you're going to a job that someone else has already started and you don't know what's going on, you need to find out before you go. And if you don't, you need to fake it when you get there, and you need to say, okay, I'm here just to check things out. Let me see what's going on. You see the condenser has not been replaced or whatever. Maybe it's taken apart. Maybe it's whatever. I don't know. Wherever you're at in the stage, find out where you're at, and then go from there. And look like a professional the whole way through. All right, well, now that I know what's going on, I assessed everything. I saw what he got done. He took it apart. It's already out. Everything looks good. It's ready for me to go get the condenser. I'm going to go do that. I'll be back in a half an hour, and we'll get this thing going for you. All right? Sorry that Mike was out, and it took me a little bit of time just to assess things, but I want to make sure I do it right for you. That's it. That's how it needs to be done. You can't go in there acting like you don't know what the hell's going on and, hey, it's just, I'm just here to do whatever, I guess, you know. You can't do that. Juweed had that problem. We talked about it. And then it happened again to another customer. And when I have two customers tell me, and again, this is what affects our company. When I have two customers tell me, I don't want that guy back anymore, he doesn't know what he's doing. He seems lost. I mean, we can't have that, you know, and it makes us look bad, makes him look bad, and he's not a bad guy. He's just, he comes in, and rather than asking the right people, he goes into the customer who's now has no faith or no confidence that he knows what he's doing. What are you even here for? I mean, do you even know what you're here for? You know? And so the customer may not even think it's him, they may think it's us. That we're just unorganized, we don't know what the hell we're doing, we're just sending some guy out there just to have send a body out, you know? And that wasn't the case. I mean, he could have done the job, but he just, you know, there wasn't enough information, which is the other part of this. So the technician that he went out to, it had very little information on there. You have to do this. Well, was it the technician's fault? Maybe not. Maybe it was the sales guy's fault. Because there were no tasks in there, there's no purchase orders in there, there's very little notes, we have to do this, do this. This is one of those jobs, unfortunately, that the customer did order a lot of the parts, but we were supposed to order certain parts, and you know, all of this stuff happened, and it was just a mess. So no one really knew what they were doing until they got there, but certain people that we have who work for us knew to not make us look bad and say, okay, so I'm here to do this, this, and this, right? This is what you want to do? Okay, let's do it. And they get out and they just do it. Rather than acting like, well, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know where the parts are, I don't know. You keep saying I don't know enough times, people lose confidence in you. So you need to try to find out through us, one way or another, or through whoever the other person was there is, okay? All that makes sense? And I'm talking a lot, but I wanted to make sure I got that stuff out because it's, I don't want this new guy that's coming in, he's got commission experience, which is hard to find as well. Hard enough to find a good plumber, but harder to find someone who's been on commission and understands it and likes it. But I want him to be treated fairly as well when it comes to going on your jobs and being paid, you know. I'm not saying you have to split the job completely on that, but, you know, if, you know, let's say on a $2,500 job, like Nick was saying, hey, I want to make $1,000, right? Well, so if Nick's making $1,000 and working the equal amount of time as Sarah, for an example, all right, well, Sarah's making $2,700, so she's making 17, you're making $1,000. At least there's some sharing that's, you know, worthy of another plumber or technician. They're getting paid what they would normally make on commission. Now this is, and I'm only saying this about commission people. If you're still hourly, different story. You can still pay them 17, 18, 20, whatever. They're worth more money because they bust their ass for you. Pay them $25 an hour. At the end of the deal, you say, you know what? You busted your ass, dude. Here's $25 an hour for that last, 2 days or whatever it is you work. I have no problem with that because you're sharing it, and you make next job they come on, they're going to bust their ass again. Guess what? You're going to get out of it earlier. You're going to make more money. So that's just an example of it. And I was throwing Sarah sold it, Nick sold it, doesn't matter, but you want to share with the other techs equally. The last thing I wanted to kind of talk about today is postponing calls. So say for an example, Nick, you have a call to go to. It's already scheduled on the board. We're scheduled between 8 and 11. Now all of a sudden another call comes in, and this call is just basically putting in some trim or whatever. It's not a real big it's not like an emergency where it has to be done. Now we get a slab leak that comes in, right? We're here in a meeting, we walk out there today, and there's a slab leak. And we want to get out there right away because we know that, number one, they're flooding out, most likely, right? Or they don't have water on, or whatever the case is. So we want to do whatever we can to get that job. If we're going to postpone a job, we need to make sure that the customer knows. Okay? So, number one, the customer knows. Dispatch obviously knows. Okay, so it should be being done through dispatch. Let them make the call and cancel it or postpone it. But you can't just postpone a call on your own without dispatch knowing. Because what happens is, customer calls and says, hey, Nick called me and said that he's gonna be a little bit later this morning than 8 o'clock, he's gonna be closer to 11. And he's not here yet, and let's say it's 10:30. Okay? If dispatch doesn't know, what are they supposed to say? Again, we look stupid. Where's the communication? What's going on? We all need to know. I want to know. I want to know when hey, Alan, Nick's going to be late to this call because he's got a slab leak this morning. He's going out to that first. I've already talked to the customer. They're aware of it. We're going to give him a call as soon as he's on his way from the other emergency. Right? And hopefully dispatch will say it in a way like, hey, Mrs. Jones, I know Nick's coming out to do the trim. He still will be there today. It's going to be a little bit later than we planned. Is that okay with you? Because we had an emergency. Somebody's flooding out. He's got to get out there to get the water turned off and at least get that going, get that started, and then he'll come straight over and take care of you. That's the way it should be done. And most customers, when that situation, unless they got somewhere to go, they'll either reschedule you or they'll say, okay, hey, no problem, I'm okay. But that gives us the option of getting out and taking care of the customer with the slab leak and the flooding out, right? So again, just make sure that if you're postponing it, dispatch, everyone knows, I know what's going on, so that we're not having customers upset at us, because that happened just the other day. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? No? Cool. Let's get to work, guys. Do it.